Welcome back to another episode of Minutes of Truth. I'm your only host on the show. How's everybody doing this fine Thursday morning? I finally got it without having to look at my watch or the calendar, which is pretty good because now I know. And knowing's half the battle. We know this. So we're really not going to go over much today, except for maybe the JD delay in Portland, as well as the return. Oh yeah, the return of Change My Mind. So before we get into all that, it is the morning. Some of us haven't gotten our coffee. I know I have. So if you don't have your coffee, this is a good time to go get yours, as well as get you something to eat for breakfast, like, I don't know, a bagel or a biscuit, Spam and eggs. Don't forget the rice. All right, I'll stop talking. But while you go get that, we're going to play a song just because, and it's just that kind of mood. You know what I mean? Go get your shit. I'll be right back.
It starts with
one thing. I don't know why. It doesn't even matter how hard you try. Keep that in mind. I designed this rhyme to explain in due time. All I know, time is a valuable thing. Watch it fly by as the pendulum swings. Watch it count down to the end of the day. The clock takes life away. It's so unreal. Didn't look out below. Watch the time go right out the window. Trying to hold on to didn't even know or wasted it all just to watch you go. I kept everything inside, and even though I tried, it all fell apart. What it meant to be will eventually be a memory of a time I tried so hard and got so far, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. I had to fall to lose it all, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. One thing, I don't know why. It doesn't even matter how hard you try. Keep that in mind. I designed this rhyme to remind myself how I tried so hard. In spite of the way you were mocking me, acting like I was part of your property, remembering all the times you fought with me, I'm surprised it got so. Things
And we're
aren't the
back.
way they were before.
Hope everybody got what they needed. I had to go wash my hands because they were feeling kind of slimy. I don't know if it's the humidity, but I opened my window, so it doesn't really matter because now my hand's clean.
There's
And we're going
things
to
in
head
life
to
you just can't.
Florida. And they're going to talk about some coyote ugly moments. So, Sheriff Grady Judd, take it away, brother. Take it away.
Believe. So you order up a prostitute, right?
Right.
This prostitute lives with his mother, by the way. He's got a massive criminal history, a 21-year criminal history with 31 criminal charges. So you order up a prostitute,
Sounds like a winner.
and that's what you think you're getting. Now, when you look at that, you go, wow, that's pretty rough, but, any port in a storm. And then the next morning when you wake up, you find out this is who it really is.
Oh, good God.
Yeah. We call that coyote ugly.
Yeah, but it's a dude.
He's laying on your arm in bed. You go, well, it was rough last night, but I've sobered up. I think I'll just chew my arm off and ease away so I don't disturb him or wake him up.
Look at
All
the
right, so
3G.
you think you're buying this, you're getting this. He's got 31 criminal charges, and heck, if you're lucky, he doesn't kill you overnight. That was Ernest Holmes from Lakeland. But then you've got Antavion Harrison. You order up.
Oh, that looks
This
like
is
a dude
real
anyway.
professional. $1,000 for full service.
1,000.
No condom. This person's already on felony probation. They show up and you go, hey.
No.
Next morning, you wake up and there he is. At this point in time, you call your brother. You say, do I have a surprise for you? Come get him. This is what we're seeing in these undercover operations. The strangest, deviant conduct you can imagine. And then there is Rodrigo Molina Anduez from New York. This is what you ordered. She's here illegally.
Oh, okay.
From Venezuela.
I mean,
$700.
The government wants to keep her here.
She is he. This is what you wake up to. This is what we're trying to do, is protect people from this outrageous conduct, because they...
Now, are they getting them for solicitation? Are they getting the John? That's another good question. It's a really good question. All right. I don't know why I picked this. Probably because it's a filler. Well, yeah. Let's head to Chuck Schumer and the Democratic Party and see what they have to say about the potential lockdown. Jesus fucking Christ. Government shutdown, which is now in day 2. And they're not going to vote today. Apparently, they're taking today off for Yom Kippur. The federal government is taking a Jewish holiday off. So they're putting this vote off till at least tomorrow. So we literally took a whole day off for Jews?
It's a disgusting video, and we're going to continue to make clear bigotry will get you nowhere. We are fighting to protect the health care of the American people in the face of an unprecedented Republican assault.
You may have seen this. I mean, President Trump just moments ago posted pictures from your meeting in the Oval Office where he, I guess, apparently tried to hand you Trump 2028 hats.
It doesn't look like
then
he's trying to hand it to him.
Then he posted another video, an
Bet you it's
AI
Diet Coke.
video of you in a sombrero once again. This time he's in the background. You see it, the audience can see it there, as a mariachi band. I mean, I think the question I have for you is, do you think that this is even a White House, a president that cares to negotiate in good faith at all? Because it sounds like this meeting that you had this week has only resulted in trolling and not in any serious conversation.
Because they want $1 trillion.
We like to troll. We do a little trolling. It's called we do a little trolling.
Every Republican who's gone on TV the last 12 hours or so has called this the Schumer shutdown. What do you say about that name?
Yeah, Chuck. Chuck.
Something ain't right.
Senator Schumer, can you hear me?
I can't hear you.
Senator Schumer, can you hear me? I don't think Senator Schumer can hear me right now. Maybe the government shutdown included audio on Capitol Hill.
Hola, mi fellow Americanos, y
You know
bienvenidos
what's
al...
crazy? I actually have a poncho like that, but mine's like legit. And I have a sombrero that I got from San Antonio many, many years ago for Fiesta.
Cierre de Schumer. That means welcome to the Schumer shutdown. We call it the Schumer siesta, right? It's the Schumer siesta. He put the government on siesta, crying Chuck. And El Hakimo Jefe Jeffries, we used to call him
Jefe.
Dollar Store Obama, till we realized he's worth far less than $1.
Obama.
But they put the government on siesta to give illegal aliens your health care. We're not going to let it happen. I looked at both of them. I said, we're not going to let it happen. It's no bueno. I said, it's no bueno. They begged me. They said, but senor, por favor, please give illegal aliens the health care. So we're not going to do it. We're never going to do it. It's not going to happen. And they're also very upset about our big, beautiful sombreros. You look at them. These are the greatest sombreros the world has ever seen. We really have the best sombreros, and everybody wants one except Crying Chuck.
Are they made in
and
China?
El Hakimo Jefe Jeffries. They don't want one, but they're going to wear one when all is said and done. We're going to end the siesta. We're going to reopen the government, and we will not give in to the demands of Chuck and El Jefe. We're not going to do that. Thank you. God bless you. Dio lo bendiga. And God bless America. Thank you.
An email from the VA saying that all clinics will remain open. No shit. You know the VA and retirement are untouchable. So whenever they tell you they're trying to cut VA disability, they're full of shit. We're already set from the previous year. Every year we get, just like Israel gets $8 billion. We already have all our shit allocated, and our clinics don't really see a decrease because, well, they sucked in the fucking first place.
For your attention to this matter.
Early worm gets the worm.
Do not talk to me until I have had my coffee.
Just pooping. You know how I be.
I'm hungry.
Michael ate an entire family-sized chicken pot pie for lunch.
He's on a sales call.
To you! No work! No work! Here are some downloaded peaceful sounds. That one makes me think of death.
How can I be productive if I have this one little thing in my brain that I cannot get out? And that one little thing is a soft pretzel. Oh, wow. Okay. All right, let's all go
That's
home.
pretty much of a government job right there. 455 more like it.
First full day of Donald Trump's government shutdown. Donald Trump and Republicans have barreled us into a shutdown because they refuse to protect Americans' health care.
It's the biggest
You
piece
mean
of dog
illegals?
This is an anti-fraud amendment. Over where we go, people say, well, why can't you stop illegal immigrants or others from coming here?
Right.
And the number one answer we give our constituents is when they come here, they can get jobs, get benefits against the law because of fraud.
Oh.
And here, the gentleman...
So this is 1996, and he was saying... So was he MAGA before MAGA was MAGA? I mean, Clinton didn't like immigrants. Obama didn't like immigrants. You know who did? Biden.
From Florida has put together the most effective anti-fraud measure we can find without it changing the actions of the government one bit.
It's right here.
And we find all this opposition. Ladies and gentlemen of this chamber, what I worry about is that this bill, which started out with good intentions, whether you agree with it or disagree with it, is going to end up being the same kind of thing that the public gets angry with us on.
Oh.
We say we're doing something, and we do nothing.
Oh.
Because every time someone makes a rational and small proposal to get something done, people say, well, what about this hypothetical, that hypothetical, etc. I urge support of this amendment. If you believe you want to stop fraud in immigration, you have no choice but to support this amendment.
Gentleman's time has expired.
I also just don't understand why we're blaming the Democrats for Republicans lying. At the highest level of office, they have the biggest megaphone. They have TV networks that repeat the lies and say things on those networks with no consequence. And the things they say are violent.
Come on now, dog. Come on, man.
Okay, so they're not only repeating the lies, but adding to this coarseness. And there's no consequence to it. And we're blaming the Democrats? We're blaming the Democrats for this. What exactly are the Democrats supposed to do?
You keep repeating. They're supposed to fight back.
Yes.
They're supposed to know. They're supposed to do it.
Like what exactly?
No. Bill Clinton just completely abused and used Republicans in every government shutdown. I know, I was there. He was smart enough politically to do it. Barack Obama knew how to always get the best of Republicans. All right? We're not blaming Democrats for Republicans' lies. We're saying that Democrats at some point have to figure out how to answer those lies. And that's not whining. The whining comes from Democratic leaders that still don't have an answer to Republican lies 10 years into Donald Trump's terms.
Jen, how do we answer the lies?
What's wrong with you people?
Y'all, I'm sorry you had to suffer through that. Now that you've heard the nutty leftist chin boogieing finishes rolling, let's get it popping.
You know, everything happens for a reason, but sometimes the reason is
you're stupid and you made a bad decision.
I mean, he's right.
And my Democratic colleagues have made a very, very bad decision here. I knew they were going to do this 2 weeks ago when they listed their demands. They're demanding, for example, that we not check people on Medicaid for eligibility.
What was the Connecticut State Trooper's name? Just curious. Is it Fahey?
Just let anybody sign up who wants to sign up. They're demanding that we give free health care to foreign nationals who are in our country illegally. They're demanding that taxpayers pay for sex change operations. If you list all of their demands and add them up, it's about,
I know what you're talking about.
It's between 1.2 and 1.5 trillion dollars. Now, they know it's an unserious proposal. They know we're not going to accept it. That tells me
I think he lost
that
qualified immunity again yesterday.
Decision to shut down government is not based on policy, Rob. It's based on politics. And here's the politics. The loon wing, the socialist wing of the Democratic Party, does not like Senator Schumer. And he wants them to like him. He wants them to love him. They have asked that government be shut down, and Senator Schumer has agreed. But once you shut down government, you've got to figure out how to get it back open. A wise person once said, if you pray for rain, you got to be prepared to deal with the mud. And I don't know how they're going to deal with the mud, because we will never, ever agree to this list of demands.
Look at that. They only need 5 fucking votes to get this resolution, or this, resolution passed. It's a clean bill. It's a clean bill. And the only thing that really sucks about it, even if it does get passed, it's only for 7 weeks. So they have 7 more weeks to either get their shit straight, or they're going to do this again, November 11th, or whenever 7 weeks from this gets passed.
You don't shut the government down because you have a policy disagreement. These are 2 separate questions. There are essential services that have already been appropriated, where we've already agreed, we want our military to have a certain amount of payment. We want air traffic control to have a certain amount. We want to ensure that a certain number of people are able to access food benefits. You don't shut down the government because you have a policy disagreement about a totally separate issue. And that's what the Democrats have done. And it really is astonishing to go back 20 years. I mean, I pretty much the entire time, guys, that I've paid attention to American politics, I have seen Democrats stand before the American people and say, you don't shut down the government because you're not getting what you want. And here they are last night, the far left faction of Senate Democrats, they shut down the government. Why? Because they're not getting what they want. And what makes it extra preposterous.
Not this guy. Not this guy.
Guys, if you actually listen to what they say that they want to ensure this, it's a premium support program under Obamacare that they want to keep going. Well, that premium support program doesn't even expire until next year. So why are you shutting down the government on October the 1st because of a program that doesn't even expire for another few months? Let's talk about it. Let's negotiate it. Let's do what you do in Washington, D.C. Don't shut down the government because you don't get what you want. That's exactly what Senate Democrats have done in this case. This is a Democrat talking point. They say we're not actually trying to give health care benefits to illegal aliens, and here's why it's not true. There are 2 Biden-era programs that explicitly gave the taxpayer health care money to illegal aliens.
The illegal aliens health care. Went over this yesterday. Anywhere between $50 to $77 billion. Or was it million? It doesn't really matter. That's stuff that can go towards, I don't know, WIC, Americans, the homeless, the schools.
Aliens that we turned off when President Trump took over in January. Program number 1 is there's a lot of emergency health care at hospitals that are provided to illegal aliens. That was funded by the federal government. We turned off that funding because, of course, we want American citizens to benefit from those hospital services, not to be taxed and then to have those hospital services go to illegal aliens. The second of which is the Biden administration gave mass parole to millions upon millions of illegal aliens, and then they simultaneously made those parolees eligible for health care benefits funded by taxpayers. In the One Big Beautiful Bill, President Trump and congressional Republicans turned off that money to health care funding for illegal aliens. The Democrats want to turn it back on. And in their initial proposal, the first thing that they put out to reopen the government, they actually turned that money for health care benefits for illegal aliens back on. So it's not something that we made up. It's not a talking point. It is in the text of the bill that they initially gave to us to reopen the government. It's preposterous for them to run away from it now. But look, let's set that all to the side. Let's open up the government. Let's negotiate on all of these healthcare policy issues. Obviously, we're not going to support healthcare benefits.
I remember 2018, 2019, where we didn't get paid for 34 days. And I was in Afghanistan. Oh, man. Man.
Benefits for illegal aliens, but we will work with them to lower health care costs for American citizens if they're willing to do so.
That was easy.
I just don't understand. These motherfuckers are banking right now. While the people that they serve, you know, the people that elected them, are possibly going without pay, these motherfuckers sit up in Capitol Hill, all of them, and taxpayers pay these motherfuckers $8 million a month. That's just for Congress. $8 million a month. Not to mention staffers. These are just the congressmen. And women. And they, thems. $8 million a month. For them to do what? Not pass bills? To do what? Travel the country? And what's the word I'm looking for? Not advocate. Well, I guess for advocate for them to get elected on the midterms. But why? Why? When you could be back in Washington fixing this shit. They should get pay docked every day while this shutdown is happening. Which means no plane rides, no going over to Israel or Ukraine, taxpayer funded. But I bet you that still happens. They'll still be allowed to fly to and from. Like I said, they fucking took today off so they couldn't vote on this resolution for Yom Kippur. That's crazy. Anyway, so yesterday we saw Nick Shirley. Was it Nick Shirley? Yeah, because the other one's Nate Friedman. Nick Shirley in Portland, and we saw a little glimpse of J.D. DeLay. Remember we were talking about, like, fuck, man, when's his shit going to come out? It came out last night. So obviously said we're going to watch it. And then I believe after that, we will go to the return of Change My Mind.
President Donald Trump officially designated Antifa as a domestic terrorist organization.
Did sign an executive order designating
Antifa a sick, dangerous, radical left disaster.
The order states Antifa is a militarist, anarchist enterprise.
He then opted to send in the National Guard to help defend the federal ICE detainment center that had been under attack for over 100 days ever since the No Kings protest.
These are not peaceful protests.
We have armored vehicles on the streets of Portland.
Having reported on several of the violent incidences perpetrated by Antifa, I decided that I wanted to go down there and witness firsthand, with my own eyes, exactly what was going on. Because myself, I do not trust our media, from the left or the right. I'm a big guy, and I know how to defend myself. But I had a couple of my combat veteran buddies who wanted to go down there with me, so that they too could see what was going on, but also so they could make sure that they themselves, me, and anyone else who needed help could stay safe and secure. Both of them also had backgrounds as EMTs, so they could apply help if somebody had a medical situation. But even they were shocked with how quickly this descended into violence, aggression, and chaos. We have removed what we needed to allow this video to stay up on YouTube. We have left everything that we can. But even with the editing that we've done to make sure that this stays up, viewer discretion is advised.
This is probably one that he should have taken monetization off.
All right, you guys, we are here just like a short distance away from the Antifa ICE raid protest here in Portland, Oregon. We're going to be walking down to the ICE detention center. We know there's already a lot of action. I don't know if you can hear the helicopter in the background. It's actually been circling for quite some time. There's been literal busloads full of SWAT cops and just riot cops all over the place. We've done some drone surveillance sort of recon to be ready for this, but there's still no telling what's going to be going on. One thing to keep an eye out for is that we have already seen that they had been taking large-scale amounts of little plastic jars or bottles,
but like I said, people change.
Filling them up with a mysterious liquid. I don't know.
Sometimes
if it's
they wake up.
I don't know if it's gasoline. I don't know if it's something way more dubious, but I personally don't want to get bum piss on me at an Antifa riot. So we're going to see how all of this goes and wish us luck. We're listening to some reggae out here, some peace and love vibe type of shit. That's encouraging. Maybe we'll get a peaceful protest instead of a riot tonight.
Right.
They seem to be all ready in gas masks and riot gear. It looks like they might be getting ready to do a push out over into here. If you can pan over there for me.
I have gas masks in my garage.
Looks like they might be doing a push over here into the people. You can see through that gate over there, there are quite a few of them. What's up, man? What's up?
What are you guys doing here?
Just hanging out, observing, seeing what's going on.
What is this?
What do you mean, what is this?
I mean, this is choreographed with them. You guys both came at the same time. You thought we wouldn't see you.
With who?
You're coordinating with them.
No, I'm not.
You guys are the Proud Boys I've ever seen.
That's a weird allegation.
Yeah.
We have no association with the Proud Boys. Okay. I like your getup, though. Would you like to tell us what you're doing out here?
Okay.
Here, use a platform.
Here's a
microphone.
faggot.
Okay.
Well, that was a friendly welcome. He seems agitated.
I mean, I can honestly say I'm not a Proud Boy.
I wonder where Nick Shirley is.
You'll find him.
Are you famous?
I'm just a YouTube journalist, my man.
Oh, cool.
Would you like to speak?
Yeah, sure.
Awesome. My name's JD. What are you guys out here hoping to accomplish tonight?
I was in the National Guard, right?
Thank you for your service.
I'm not anymore, but I signed up. I didn't sign up to fight civilians.
Yeah.
You're the National Guard.
We were there to protect, and what he's doing right now.
He didn't sign up to fight civilians. Did you know when we were fighting the terrorists overseas, right? You get what I'm saying? They were civilians. They weren't part of a military. They were part of a movement, an ideology. Huh? And you're the National Guard. Get the fuck out of here. You look like you got kicked out.
Trying to take over the state government and try to turn it into federal government, it's bullshit.
So do you think that there's a constitutional basis for him sending? Because I understand that in Virginia it's federally run, but in the states, do you think
it's ran by the governor, not by the president?
Yeah,
right?
so
it's against the Constitution.
Not true.
100%.
So you feel this is unconstitutional?
Not true. If you were in the National Guard, you would have fucking known that.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Awesome. And
You're
so
absolutely right, Yeti. Because their job, believe it or not, if they're protecting the state, It's riot control. It's riot control.
To see what's going on and sort of observe.
I didn't even know what was going on today. I just drove by and I was like, hell yeah, I'm gonna pull over.
Right on, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
What was your name, brother?
Calvin.
Calvin, it's great to meet you.
This is
Thank
my
you for your
girlfriend,
service. Hey, Starla, how are you? Right on. Do you mind if I ask you one more question on record?
Yeah, sure.
So, what do you think the attitude or the feelings of your brothers and sisters in the National Guard being deployed out here is? Do you think that they're in support of it?
The crime rate has dropped the last 4 years in Portland.
In Portland?
It's getting better. And they're saying it's like a hellhole. It's not a hellhole. Like, look at Portland right now. I was here all day visiting. I don't even live in Portland.
Yeah.
Then what are you doing there?
It's not bad. There's not.
You said you don't live there.
There's not violence happening everywhere. And why does the federal government have to step in?
Well, I have seen, these are apartments here, and it's been like 100 days or so since the No Kings protest. And it's been every night. I know that there's been people that live in these apartments that have been assaulted, and that it's been late and all night sort of stuff with bullhorns and stuff.
In a major city, there's never gonna be zero crime.
In Oregon, there's no self-defense, dog. Just let
Hey,
you know.
brother,
I just
can
wanted
we-
to
can
know
we
who
turn
you
down
were.
the temperature?
Your security.
My name-
Hey, hold
my
on
name's
1
JD.
second, dog. Can you tell your security to identify who you are?
They don't. They're not under any obligation to identify.
Violence and let me get it to where you can actually. Hold on. I got this. Violence in Portland, Oregon surged dramatically starting in 2020 amid the COVID-19 pandemic and social unrest reaching record highs in 2021 and 2022. This includes spikes in gun-related incidents, homicides, aggravated assaults, which were part of the broader national trend, but hit Portland harder than many peer cities. However, data from the Portland Police Bureau and the major cities' chief associations shows a clear reversal beginning in 2023 with a consistent decline through 2024. However, yes, violence has decreased over the past 4 years when compared to end of 2024 versus 2021. Though levels remain elevated compared to pre-2020 baselines. Underreporting. And we've heard this, not for just COVID, right? They knew it did in DC. We know they're doing it in Chicago. Why is Portland any different? I mean, fucking Crowder tells you the dude that got shot in the street for being a Trump supporter and died, and nothing happened to the shooter.
Identify who I am. I can speak for myself, brother.
Can
we be civil and turn down the temperature here?
You know who you're working for. I'm not touching it. I'm not touching it. Okay, let's be civil. We're just here to have a conversation. Okay.
Put your hand in my face
I know
again.
who you're working for. Yes or no?
I'm disengaging from this.
Yes,
this
sir.
is getting aggressive and toxic.
You know who you're
Let's not worry about this. Let's move along.
Smart.
So we just had a little bit of an incident there. Got a little bit crazy. Somebody was a little bit heated. Not sure exactly what the whole deal was. He felt like we owed him answers, and that's not really how it works in this country. So.
I know exactly where the fuck I am. Thank you, though, for trying to instigate while you're working, you fucking dumbass.
It's funny that he would be screaming while accusing other people of instigating.
Do you think he would be doing that if there wasn't all those other Antifa faggots around? No. He probably wouldn't even be there. And if he was, he'd be sitting on the sidelines.
Now with the threats. Awesome.
Yeah, I'm
And
arrogant.
he's bragging that the state of Oregon doesn't have a self-defense law, which he's wrong.
Touch me again. Exactly.
No shit, I did not know that.
No, I understand Measure 11 very well. I totally understand Measure 11.
I did not know that.
So, people seem agitated.
They're very agitated.
Yeah.
Stay safe tonight.
Hey, absolutely, man. Thank you so much. Huge love to you, bro. Hell yeah. So we now have an entourage of people that are hanging out with us. They have cool toys, which is awesome, and they seem to be having a good time. Now they're talking about white pride for some reason.
Get the fuck out of here!
Why are you agitated?
Not you! Not having a conversation with you! I don't give a fuck about you! Him!
So, he seems upset. He doesn't want to talk with me, which I can respect. I'm here to talk to people who want to talk to me.
Appreciate it, Gomez.
So, it seems like we're being followed by a whole bunch of people at this point. This is wonderful. Nick! Hey!
Look at all them. There's Nick.
Nick, what's up, brother? How you doing? Get him.
Oh, I remember this part of his video.
I'm not sure what's going on.
Why are they agitated with you being here?
Yeah, I don't know, bro. We just came, tried to have civil conversation and discourse with them, and they started getting wild, and it started building and building, and got crazier and crazier. So, fuck the Proud Boys! Fuck the Proud Boys! Fuck the Proud Boys! Fuck who? Who?
Take that mask in.
No, not fuck Charlie.
They wish death upon Charlie Kirk.
Oh, yeah, I don't like that.
Me neither.
So it looks as if they're trying to surround us now.
So when you think about the creed, not the creed, my bad, the oath of enlistment, right? I will defend this country against enemies, both foreign and domestic. And now that Antifa is designated a terrorist organization, they have the full rights under the oath of enlistment to go after these fuckers.
Interesting. Yeah, there's like a lot of them.
I always find it interesting because they could, like, it's a great opportunity for them to explain why they're out here. Instead, they do this.
Yeah. Were they like this with you, or is it just me?
It's been a little chaotic today.
Okay.
You think that would annoy me?
It is interesting.
I've been through worse noises like that. They're like fucking kids.
To us, they might not like you anymore.
Dude's got an earpiece in. Oh, look at that faggot.
This is wild.
Wow.
Now we're getting called Nazis and cops, which is very interesting.
That's funny, him being called a cop.
Who am I? I'm a YouTuber. What's your name? My name is JD. JD? Yes, sir. What is your name? America First Rifleman. Good to meet you. What are you doing out here? Are you protesting? Do you feel that it's unconstitutional that the federal government is intervening out here?
No, because they're trying to stop the federal government from enforcing the federal immigration laws.
Yes, absolutely. Do you think that they're acting outside of the Constitution?
No, the president's doing what's necessary after years of lawlessness.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Awesome.
But JD on YouTube.
JD Delay.
I came here just for you. I'm Grumpy Knuckles.
It's good to meet you. How are you today, sir?
Well, he must be an
I
Nazi.
came down just for you.
Hey, can I hug you? What's up, man?
I came here just for you.
He's a proud boy.
So much, bro. Huge love to you, dog.
Hey, you know, I walked in the middle of the fire.
Bro, I'm not Republican or Democrat. I just want to see what's best for our country, for the people, not the government. I don't trust people on either side of our government. Yeah, bro, hell yeah.
Came here for JD. Grumpy Knuckles, neighborhood Grumpy bitch. Good man.
Good to see you. Thank you so much for coming through.
I got you.
How are you, sir?
What's your name?
My name is JD.
I got you on YouTube. I think.
You think?
I didn't get to see you.
He looks like a medic. Well, not a medic, but he's a roving
Are
medic.
you out here providing medical services?
Yeah.
Oh, see?
Thank you for doing that.
It's that red bag on the front. That's for EMF.
Yeah. Dude, thank you so much for providing medical services to these people, bro.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's good stuff. I actually have a guy with me who provides medical services as well.
Nice.
But they seem agitated that I brought people with me, so.
I get the info that I keep updated on the show.
Yeah, right on, brother. You're doing good stuff out here, man.
And so are you.
Thanks. What's up?
What's going on? Who are you guys?
I'm a YouTuber.
YouTuber, what's your name?
So, JD.
JD, how are you tonight?
But, I'm here to give people a voice, to hear what they have to say. I'm not Republican or Democrat. I'm for the people, and I love the people of this country. I don't trust the government, and I just want to have civil conversation. Wow.
This dude really have a whole ass iPad.
You got an Instagram?
I do. I'm JD Delay on Instagram.
Okay, you got a business card or something on you?
I don't have a card on me, brother.
Okay, you're working out.
Yeah, right on, man. Good to meet you.
That bag must be heavy he's wearing.
Come on, shouting out Grumpy Knuckles on YouTube, Instagram.
What's that?
Hey, shout out to Grumpy Knuckles, JD Delay, man.
Shout out to Drunken Monkey.
Drunken Monkey.
What is it? I'm sorry, I fucked that up. It's hard to hear, dog.
It's all
What is it?
Grumpy Knuckles. I'm the one that
Grumpy Knuckles. Yo, not bad. Not bad. I thought it was a Kung Fu movie. Hold on, let me do it again, bro. Let me fix it. Let me fix it.
Alright.
Hey, shout out to Grumpy Knuckles on Insta.
On
Big love and respect.
Grumpy Knuckles.
Love you, brother. That's a bright light. What's he saying?
Something about skinheads. He said you ran with the skinheads.
Dude, I used to fucking surefire my light in some motherfucker's eyes. Best believe.
Why would you think that I ran with skinheads, homie?
I did 10 years. I know how it goes. You clicked up with the white people, the Nazis. Yeah. Shut the fuck up.
I'm not gonna shut the fuck up. Do something.
Run your mouth. Oh, you gonna get in his face? Look, it's a ninja.
Can you turn it up? I can't hear. Can you turn it up louder? I can't hear you. Hey.
Whoa.
I think we're probably going to take off here in a minute.
Okay.
Are you going to be okay down here, or do you want to get out with us?
I'll be all right.
All right, bro. Hey,
He got balls.
good to see you, man.
Good to see you too.
So, but I think we'll head out. Yeah. All right. Hey, brother, we're going to head out.
Fuck that.
Yeah. Let's go this way. Grab down.
Look out, Nazi! Fuck you, Nazi!
A real life joke.
I'm doing DHS right here.
I got the 6.
So that was interesting. I don't know that we're going to be able to use any of that footage because there was so much noise going on. So I don't want to sit there and have lights shined in my eyes and bullhorns in my ears if all of our footage is going to be useless anyway. It just seems like we're agitating things more and putting Nick in more danger.
By a louder bullhorn.
So as you can see, that went south incredibly quickly. Those people clear.
And it doesn't seem like it's gotten any better. I'd have to go double check and see what's going on in Portland, but maybe that's just not being broadcast anymore because it's not having the effect they thought it would. And then when you said in the federal officers, the National Guard, things get more fun. All right, before we head into this Change My Mind segment, which is an hour and 26 minutes, you guys should probably go to the bathroom, get you some more coffee, mimosas, whatever it is you guys drink in the morning. I have to go use the bathroom. But I will leave you with something to listen to until I come back. So I shall return. Yeah. All right. So obviously that was the youth of the nation. And I will tell you, I have not seen this. So it's pretty much a blind reaction. And, well, let's see what Change My Mind has to say with, what is it? The left is violent. Change My Mind. Thank you.
Of course.
No name.
No name.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Batteries? All right, I'm gonna start this video real quick.
To change my mind. It's been a while. This is the place where we rationalize, we reason our positions on controversial topics. When I created Change My Mind in 2017, I had one goal in mind, and that was to shine a light on the institutions that had failed Americans. Often, students propagandized by the educational system as well
of our nation.
As legacy media.
Mr. Trump's once again defending comments he made about the white supremacists and neo-Nazis.
There were very fine people on both sides.
The president's statement that both sides are responsible for the violence in Charlottesville.
It was designed to bring genuine dialogue to what had become an impenetrable echo chamber dominated by progressive professors, administrators, student leadership, along with the complicit media and big tech establishment. To put it simply, the kind of dialogue that evaded all of cable news.
I know you said that. 150 police officers got hurt.
You said I was being hyperbolic. Let me respond. I'm not. You being a white man as an insult?
That just shows you the ridiculousness of all of this.
And so, nearly a decade later, with billions of plays, countless discussions, inspired student iterations, one meme of the year, and yes, even a few changed minds later,
I somewhat changed your mind.
Change My Mind had grown far bigger than I ever initially anticipated. And with that came pushback, controversy, increasing hostility, and yes, straight up violence.
You piece of living garbage ass dumpster fire.
It got to the point where security became a serious issue. And so I pulled back. Now, given recent events, however, I felt led, compelled even, to bring it back. Voices like ours, and I mean ours, can't be silenced. And I say this to you watching on the left, made me do this. I didn't necessarily want to, and everyone told me that this, in today's climate, could not be done unless I took unbelievable precautions, unless it was absolutely kept a secret until mere hours before the event as a pop-up, unless I literally brought an army with me and bulletproofed the entire radius, which is exactly what we did. And so today, for the first time in many years, Change My Mind returns, and back to one of the places where it all began, Southern Methodist University in Dallas, Texas. Today's subject is plain and simple. The left is violent. Will anybody be able to change my mind?
Probably not.
Thank you, Christina, for sitting down.
One more time.
Stephen.
Yes. Okay.
So I'll take that. I mean, you're not maybe super familiar with what we do with these this series. Let me just kind of clarify what it is. First, I'll tell you what it's not. It's not gotcha. It's not clickbait. This is not meant to be, or it won't be used to clip into some kind of a dunk or something to just foment people espousing the same rhetoric on one side. It will be uploaded contextually in its entirety, where hopefully we have a productive discussion. Yes. We rationalize our positions, reason them on controversial topics. Before I get to the premise of today, could you do me a favor just so we can find some common ground? Yeah. This is what's being cited right now quite a bit. Just the definition of political violence. I want to make sure we both agree on it.
Political violence are criminal complaints, indictments, and court records looking for crimes that seek a socio-political change or to communicate to outside audience.
And I'll summarize it. That's the technical description from the source cited.
Yeah.
It's violence as a tool being used toward a political end. In other words, just because you vote Democrat or because you vote Republican, if you accidentally hit someone with your car and commit manslaughter, that's not political violence. If you vote Democrat, but let's say you go out and run someone over because of their politics, that would be political violence. Do we agree on that?
I think I can agree with you on that.
Okay,
yes.
Good. So the premise today is that particularly today in 2025, by and large, the political violence is coming from the left. It's not proportionate with that on the right. That's the reason for the security that you see today that's very necessary. And it's a problem that's reaching a boiling point that may not be sustainable. If you disagree with me, you're welcome to change my mind.
I don't know if I can change your mind, because here's the thing. When I see the sign that says the left is violent, and you talked about how it's not proportional, and I would love to see your statistics about that, because we could make the same statement about the right very easily, right? Like we could say that was it just a month or two ago that the Democratic lawmakers were shot, and that was like, all right. I think our bigger problem is that the
Talk about the Hortmans in Minnesota, right?
They were shot by a Democrat. The neighbor/roommate said he was Republican. Right? And that dude was credible. He was working for Tim Walz. Fact. Tim Walz wanted Hortman's seat in the Congress. Fact. Actually, Klobuchar's. I believe it was Klobuchar's. Because she was also on the list. Because he wants that seat. Fact.
Right, yeah, because she was a senator, and her husband was also killed, and that was done by the right, whatever. But
it wasn't. But continue.
Oh, that wasn't a.
No.
It wasn't a conservative or.
No, that's why I used the example that I did. The person, Vance Bolter, who committed it, specifically said it had nothing to do with politics, and he left a letter reasoning it, saying that Tim Walz had ordered him to carry a hit out on people. So he was very clear that it wasn't in the name of politics. That's someone who happened to be, on some issues, Republican, on some issues, Democrat. And he was appointed by a Tim Walz administration. So that was not done in the name of political violence. He said Tim Walz ordered him to assassinate somebody who was out of his mind. But I'd like you to continue with the example.
Sure. And let's say, okay, so he wasn't right. That's fine.
No, it wasn't political violence.
It wasn't political. Oh, it didn't count as political violence.
Based on the definition you agreed to, right?
Yeah. And I think a lot of it too is there's so many things happening. It's actually really hard to get all the facts about everything.
Sure.
And our media is when they make these statements or they start to postulate about an event, and it will become political before we've even fully fleshed everything out.
Could you give me an example?
Well, the shooting that happened at the church yesterday, I haven't seen enough. I don't know. Have you seen any media on it yet? I'm curious to know what the media is saying
quite a bit
about it.
Yeah, he went after
and I want to know if how are they characterizing it?
Yeah, the media isn't characterizing, even I will say this, even on the left and the right, they're not really characterizing that as political violence.
Okay.
Because it was a guy who really seemed to harbor ill will toward the Mormon church. So it's pretty hard to categorize it as political violence when the targets were largely conservative and the man who carried out the action seems like he might be a Republican. But I think we could pick a more clear example, a multitude of them. The reason we're here, and I don't think you would argue that this is unnecessary, the assassination in cold blood as an act of terrorism of Charlie Kirk. Is that political violence?
Does she have a mustache?
You seem so confident on the Hortmans, but not Charlie Kirk.
I was just thinking about your question. Probably because he was Turning Point USA is a conservative organization, right? That's meant to try and rally young conservatives and be involved. And so, I would probably agree that his death was his murder, assassination was politically violent.
No shit.
But I guess I just have a hard time reconciling that with, we can say that the senator and her husband being killed wasn't political, but...
I'll tell you exactly why. I'll tell you exactly why. Because the express motive of the terrorist who assassinated Charlie Kirk was politics. He killed him because he said he's one of those hateful conservative right-wingers. The rhetoric that he espoused, the reason that he killed Charlie Kirk, was to take out someone of his political persuasion and make others of his political persuasion afraid to express their opinions. The man who assassinated, which I roundly condemn, Vance Bolter, the Hortmans, did not do it as a means to a political end. Charlie Kirk was assassinated. He is not an elected official solely because of his political perspective as a method to instill terror in the populace.
Yeah.
How do I know? Because a person said it was political violence.
Okay, what if we just don't even have enough information, though? What if it is politically motivated and we just don't have enough to know about it yet?
In that case, we do.
Not in this particular instance, but I just mean with the Hortmans you mentioned.
Okay, well, let's separate the gray area.
Okay.
Right, that's why I kind of start with the example. Just because you, I would assume, let's say, vote Democrat or Republican, just because you commit a crime doesn't make it political violence. I mean, if we did that, we'd have 90% of the crime being committed on behalf of the Democrat Party because most people in inner cities vote Democrat. I don't consider that to be political violence. People have political beliefs, and people commit violence. Sometimes they rob a store because they want money. People who commit political violence do so specifically to instill fear in political opposition. They specifically commit violence as a means to a political end.
Okay.
And when we categorize it that way, it's overwhelmingly coming from the left. We do have the sources here that we make this available, so you can take the QR code. So what would make you, because you seem very confident that the Hortmans was political violence, and then it's nuanced with Charlie Kirk. Why?
Oh, I didn't say it was nuanced at all with Charlie Kirk. I agreed with you after considering your question that it was a political.
If that doesn't constitute political violence that could be answered in the affirmative immediately, of course, what would? Like, what would be required to say, oh, this is clearly an act of political violence or political terrorism, if not Charlie Kirk?
I agreed that it was political violence, so I'm not sure where this question's coming from.
Well, I'm saying because you came in and pointed to an example that would be in the gray area, the Hortmans, and took a long time to agree with that premise of Charlie Kirk. And so what if we don't know enough information? So Charlie Kirk would be very clear left-wing political violence.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Sure.
Great.
Yes.
So there are more examples of that coming from the left than the right. That's the premise, yes.
Okay. So you're saying clear examples of political violence. I hear you using clear
violence
examples.
carried out as a means to a political end.
So there's clear information, data that shows us that the left is violent or is more violent than the right.
Yes. Not only in crime statistics, but also in the polling after Charlie Kirk's death. Now, I believe that you're discussing this in good faith, and I would assume that you roundly condemn political violence of all stripes.
Of course.
So do I. Just to be clear, I think we both are. That's why we're sitting at a table having a conversation.
Right.
Do you identify as more liberal or conservative?
I like to think I'm moderate because I hold some conservative views and some liberal views. Okay. And I wish we could have a little bit more moderation in our country.
Like sitting down and having discussions?
Exactly.
Okay.
Like things like this.
Because we get killed for it anyway.
Right. Yeah.
And only the right. Only the right gets killed for this anyway. You're seeing the one that got through. The reason I stopped doing this for years is because every single time out was a violent attack. Sometimes it was a rock. Sometimes it was a milkshake, could be concrete, acid, chocolate, vanilla, I don't know. Doxing, fire bombings, Molotov cocktails.
Speaking of fire
Maya Angelou spoke.
Those motherfuckers in Portland firebombed Ice Cube's tour bus. Fucking
At SMU, only a few years before my first time here, didn't need this kind of security. And you can see it if you observe your speakers here. And I'll tell you why that is. If you look at the polls post-assassination of Charlie Kirk, and you label yourself as a moderate, those who identify as liberal support political violence at a ratio of 6-1 to conservatives. The YouGov poll said, is political violence acceptable? 77% of conservatives said not at all. Only 38% of those on the left said not at all. 62% of those on the left said somewhat to completely accept not at all. Said not at all. Only 38% of those on the left said not at all.
I knew it was to his website.
62% of those on the left said somewhat to completely acceptable. We see the same stats after the attempted assassination of Donald Trump. We see the same stats after the firebombings of the Tesla dealership. And we see the same stats on the opposite side.
When they acknowledge it, because they're one of the worst liberal fucking propagandists out there. When they admit it, you know, you just got to come to terms.
Those on the right roundly condemning political violence. The lowest you'll find is 72. You usually find it in the high 80s. You will not find a number that breaks half on the left.
Okay, you mentioned Donald Trump. Can we jump to that for just a minute?
Donald Trump, sure. I assumed we would.
Well, because I thought that guy was a registered Republican, and then he donated the guy who attempted to assassinate Donald Trump. I'm sorry, I'm really terrible at names.
Crooks.
Yeah, that he was a registered Republican. So would you consider him a act of violence on the right?
I would consider the attempted assassination of a presidential nominee political violence, yes.
Yes.
I don't know if you know this, there are a lot of people on the right who don't like Donald Trump.
Yes.
I used to be one of them.
Yeah.
Political violence isn't just Republican, Democrat. That's why I say left versus right.
Okay.
Those on the right are more routinely targets, and it's very blatant. People can say he was a registered Republican. That doesn't change the fact that it was a an act of political violence
Yes,
carried out
yes.
against Donald Trump, who's a conservative,
Yes.
Republican, whatever term you want
Okay.
to use.
Well, I guess, but if the argument is the left is violent, and
The
I'm
greatest thing, if I ever do something, they're going to pull up my voting record. They're going to see some conservatives. They're going to see some libertarians. And they're going to see Tulsi Gabbard when she was a Democrat. So how does that work? Huh? You can find my name in Act Blue. I donated $5 to Tulsi Gabbard's campaign. Oh no. Oh no.
thinking about this guy's, political background from the person. I hear what you're saying, that the right is targeted more often.
Yeah, we're the victims of political violence.
More often. And
much more.
So, would you classify that specific incident as violence of the right or of the left?
Well, the target is the right. The target was Donald Trump. So the net result is the same. We are often the targets of violence.
Yeah, but the left,
including someone who may be a moderate Republican. Yeah, the left is still overwhelmingly violent. And I point to those polls that you can peruse from YouGov, from Reuters, not bastions of conservatism, along with the rhetoric since then. Here's the one thing that you can't point me to. And we can go through the stats. And I know you've probably heard from those on the left that actually there's more right-wing political violence. They're often circulating that right now. I can disabuse you of that notion relatively quickly. I think we'd find common ground there. You still can't point me to an example that is comparable on the right of Charlie Kirk, someone who was not an elected official, a public figure who was really notable for nothing more than expressing his opinion and having conversations, who was assassinated in cold blood and then gleefully celebrated thereafter from the left. And I hope that as someone who's moderate, you understand why that's so concerning to us on the right. When we host vigils and memorials, and the left is so completely fearless of their own consequences that they kill one of ours and show up to the memorials and vigils and desecrate and vandalize. That is the information that creates the powder keg.
Yeah, yeah.
The only off-ramp would have been, hey, we kept saying that people like Charlie Kirk, by the way, he was much more moderate than I am. I am Genghis Khan or Attila the Hun compared to Charlie Kirk, but I will have conversations with anyone. I just want to be very clear. So I know that plenty of people would gleefully celebrate my death, my murder, for doing this exact same thing. The only off-ramp would have been the left saying, look, we've called Donald Trump and his voters and Charlie Kirk and Steven Crowder and whoever on the right, Tucker Carlson, take your pick, Sargon of Akkad, everyone. Ben Shapiro, we've called them fascists, we've called them Nazis, we've said that they want to commit a genocide because they don't want to transition children, we've called them racist because they support the police in an era of defund the police, and my God, people out there actually believe it. It's incumbent upon us to tone this down and say, you know what? They're not fascists. We made these people believe that this guy would never relinquish the reins of power. How do you deal with fascists? You can't do it at a ballot box. If I believed that there was an actual government right now that was executing blacks, as the left has said about the police force, if I believed that there was a leftist government that was actually fascist, that would jail any and all political dissidents, if I believed that the left was committing a genocide against white conservative Christian men, and if I believed that that administration would never host a democratic election again, I'd be out in the streets with a gun. You have a huge portion of Democrats who believe that about Donald Trump and his voters.
Yeah, I mean, I believe you saying that people believe that. Absolutely.
That's very different between the right and the left, isn't it?
I mean, I don't know, Stephen.
I believe you saying that, which means she doesn't believe what he's saying.
The left, isn't it?
People believe that. Yeah, I mean, I believe you saying that people believe that. Absolutely.
See that? You saying that people believe that. So she doesn't believe it.
That's very different between the right and the left, isn't it?
I mean, I don't know, Stephen. It feels like it's so polarized right now. It's even hard to find common ground on anything. You know, like I was just thinking about the sign, and it's that the left is violent.
Yes.
Then when I sit down, it's actually the left is politically violent, and so it's kind of it's a modifier, right? We're modifying our conversation a little bit, and so.
Okay. Do you want to go to BLM? Antifa?
No, what I'm doing is matching the intensity and the rhetoric of the left. Kamala Harris and Joe Biden have said the right is violent. The political right is violent. And I'm doing what they are unwilling to do, which is sit down and have a conversation. I don't believe it's nuanced. I believe there's black and white, pretty clear-cut good and evil in this one. I believe there's pretty black and white, clear-cut who's responsible for the political violence. But I will discuss it with anybody. So did Charlie Kirk. And they kill us anyway. So I'm matching their rhetoric that I can fit on a sign, but I'm doing the work that the left is not willing to do and having a conversation. But I don't know where we go from if we have these conversations and short of a brigade coming in, we get assassinated. The left doesn't fear that.
I would disagree, though. I think the left does have their own fears about it. Maybe it's not exactly the same, but I think there's a lot of fear out there. It's just not.
What does the left fear? It's not the police. It's not the court systems. They don't fear that. It's quite obvious in a lot of these big cities. I mean, you can get arrested, 31 times? 34 times? Get released every time? And then murder a woman? Like, how many times do they need to realize, oh my God, this dude's been arrested this many times? Maybe he is a danger. Maybe he is a danger. And now that he's medically incompetent for his past 3 cases, I say medically, mentally incompetent. So that's another red flag. You mean that? You mean they fear that? They fear the police. They fear the fucking consequences. They don't fear incarceration, you're right. Probably because they've already been in there.
It's just different.
The leftist speakers on this campus don't need the same kind of security. They don't.
I'll take note of that. I mean, I've been a student here for 2 years,
You
and
were
I
on the
hadn't
same
really
wavelength
even
right
paid
there,
that much
ladies.
attention. I don't go to a whole lot of events, but I'll take note of that and see what I notice. So.
Well, let me ask you this. Assuming that I'm not lying to you, right, about these polls, and this is one thing, we always, every show that I do, I'm largely a comedian, by the way. I'm an unwilling participant in this. I want to be telling dick jokes in a comedy club.
Stand-up comedy, too, actually.
Oh, good, okay. Do you do some around here?
I do.
You might know my half-Asian lawyer, Bill Richmond. He does a lot of stand-up in Dallas right now. He has a show coming up.
Cool.
Well, let me know. Maybe I'll be able to look it up, and I can't come out and see a show unless I come out with security, but I'd like to see your material. That's actually even another example. A man who works on my show, a man named Josh Firestein, he was a booker for a comedy, a franchise of comedy clubs. When I performed at the Spokane Comedy Club, it was the first time they ever needed metal detectors and security. He'd been a booker there for many, many years. You had actual registered communists do comedy there. He was shocked and he was ready to hate me. He works for me now because he saw why it was necessary. When you perform on stage, do you need metal detectors? Do you need armed security? I have since I was 19 years old doing comedy in clubs. And I don't think I've said anything that necessitates that.
Oh, George was letting me know. I have class at 2.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So how do we fix this then?
Oh, I mean, I think we need to have more civil discourse. I think.
Can't do that. We get shot.
Yep.
Well, we can. We're doing it right now. Let's
brigade.
so pessimistic that Stephen, come on, we have to change our attitudes about it. We can't constantly fixate on the negative stuff. I know it's important and it matters, but we can do it. And just as a
I can do it with $250,000 of security. Most people don't have that.
Most people don't have that. And you talk about like fearing for your life.
Yeah.
I am a female pastor in Deep East, Texas. So on Sunday morning, I wait for that time when someone doesn't like what I said from the pulpit and comes up to me. So I too live with a fear, but it's different for me. And,
do you have metal detectors and armed security?
We can't afford that at my church. We have an old person that sits at the front and says hi and tries
how many times have you had issues at your church
a way that would
where
be
you would
appropriate
need
of a Christian. We've thought about bringing security to the church. We talked about it.
We literally can't have these discussions on our side unless we have it.
We have security.
It's a necessity.
Yeah. And I think that's really unfortunate that it's gotten so bad. The state of our country is so bad that we can't even talk to each other without one side or the other having to provide ridiculous amounts of safety and security that maybe aren't even guaranteed.
No, yeah, it's true.
Right?
And I agree with you. It is terrible that we've gotten to this point.
Yeah.
It is terrible that it's exclusively incumbent upon one side to have these types of measures in place. Let me ask you this.
I wonder if the VA would like just give me a whole new neck. This shit is ridiculous.
Because again, I think that we both abhor political violence. Do you think that maybe when one side is being hunted, let's make no mistake, Charlie Kirk was hunted. When people showed up to my house to try and kill me, I was being hunted, right? Any conservative here is one viral tweet, one effective video away from being hunted.
Yeah.
Do we think that when that happens, and we peacefully mourn the loss of one of our peaceful leaders, and we are still approached with violence at memorials and at vigils with desecration, do you think that maybe the both sidesing it, saying it comes from both sides, is actually more harmful than productive? Because it lets the side that's responsible for it off the hook, the clear aggressor?
Do I think it's more harmful to say that it's both sides?
Do you think it would be more helpful to call the left out and say, hey, you guys have been saying fascist, you guys have been saying Nazi, you guys have been saying genocide, sexist, and people believe it.
But they do get
And we're seeing political violence now that we both hate. Do you think that calling them out aggressively, rhetorically, might be more productive than saying, well, I guess it happens on both sides right now?
No, I don't, because it kind of reminds me of therapy, you know, where it's not necessarily helpful to point the finger in ways that are counterproductive. Not that I'm not opposed to holding people accountable.
But as a therapist, you're the person that's supposed to see that that's happening and then guide you away from it, because that's obviously one of the issues you have. Right?
Because that's a different thing.
No, I understand.
So,
Maybe let me ask you then this way, where you say pointing fingers. What is the reason that we record crime statistics?
I don't know.
Would you agree with the fundamental premise that its primary purpose is risk assessment in determining who's most likely to be victimized? For example, and I hear this from the left, transgender
That's so funny hearing risk assessment. That's something, anytime you had any training event in the U.S. military, whether it's a fucking 20-mile road march from Camp Darby to whatever, or PT, even for a fucking 1 hour PT session, you always had to do it. If you're marching from one park, or if you're doing a parade, you have to do a risk assessment from that. Like the weather, traffic, what happens, those are what ifs. And then you have you can implement things that make it to where the risk assessment goes from high to at least a moderate or a low. And that's what the Army wanted to do. You had to take it from wherever it was, and you had to put the fucking steps in by regulation to make it low, a risk assessment low. And they don't do that shit anymore. I think they just started copy and pasting.
Gay sex workers are more likely to be targets of violence than heterosexual sex workers, right? Those studies have come out. And by the way, those seem to be true. So we go, okay, these people are more at risk. The reason for crime statistics is to assess where the risk exists. Otherwise, it serves no purpose.
Okay.
Will we agree with that?
Fair.
Okay.
Sure, I'll trust your information on this.
Well, it's not information. It's just the reason. This is the why. Why else would we have crime statistics? Why would we record them? There's no reason. Just, okay, crime was committed. There's nothing we can do about it now.
I'll just have a history. I mean, is another potential reason, but sure.
What's the value in a history?
But history's so important, Stephen. Come on.
In what?
History matters. Oh my gosh.
But history is important in what?
In everything, right? History repeats itself, but I think it holds to your point that history matters because you're saying we've seen these
you don't want to repeat
violence events. Yeah, and we don't. You
don't want to repeat negative history.
Right,
so we agree. That's the reason
right.
for crime statistics. So if we look at those statistics and we look at the polls and we see an overwhelming number of those on the left at a ratio of 6-to-1 support violence compared to those on the right, and we see people being murdered in cold blood, if you are conservative, right-leaning in this country and a public speaker, you are more at risk. How is that pointing the finger? It's identifying the problem and not repeating history, no?
Yes. Well, with data, sure. And data speaks differently than I think sometimes people do.
Sure.
You know, and so I think how data is presented matters a lot.
I agree.
So yeah, I mean, that's kind of all I really have on that particular thought. Were you wanting?
Well, I think actually, going to that point, the data that's presented, for example, right now in the wake of the assassination, by the way, not just that, we haven't gone more than 3 days with a serious liberal attack, but a serious leftist attack, meaning in the ideology of the left. You have it right here, ICE, that happened, ICE facility. You had another one in, I believe, is it Alvarado or Alvarado? I don't know the right way to pronounce it. People were shot there. There was a bomb threat. The ABC affiliate. Okay, all right. It's like Houston, and then in New York they go Houston. I'm like, I don't know the rules. Houston. So forgive me. And then I have French Canadian moms, so I mispronounce things.
It's like in Columbus, Georgia, there's a high school there called Jordan. Jordan. Now keep in mind, it's spelled Jordan. So when I got there, and I was like, "Hey, who's covering Jordan High School?" And they're like, "Don't say that to the school people, to the seniors." Yeah, it's Jordan. And then I know it means nothing to you guys, but that's another example. And you know what? It's like analyze and analyze.
She taught me English. Nice. And then we look at the ABC affiliate, Jimmy Kimmel. We haven't gone more than 3 days.
Bro.
That's an acceleration.
With everybody putting Kimmel back on air, within 2 days, that motherfucker lost 70% of his audience. 70% in 2 days. Of course, people wanted to tune in on that Tuesday. They wanted to see what Jimmy said. So he got 6 million views. 6.3 million views. 2 days later, he wasn't even making 1 million views. Maybe 1.2. Disney really regrets letting that show back on air. What's up, Juniper?
Right now. And the problem is, amidst that, the left is saying, actually, there's more political violence coming from the right. And that's the rhetoric we've been hearing, and it's dishonest. In other words, data is being presented to the public deliberately, dishonestly, to victim blame. And that's something that we face too, where if you back people into a corner who are avoiding conflict, who are not violent, there could end up being right-wing violence. And when that happens, it's very ugly, it's very effective, it's very swift. And the only way we avoid that is for the left to take accountability of it and for them to tone down the temperature.
No, imagine if the right did decide to get violent. And I'm not talking about January 6th violent, because that wasn't violent at all. I mean violent. Like, live like there's no consequences. Yeah, imagine that. But don't, because this is YouTube, and hypothetically.
And by that I mean, right now, and this is where I show you, I think we both agree on this. So the two sources in the data, I don't care if you see my password, are the Prosecution Project, that's what, and Cato. These are the ones where they say, hey, right-wing violence is more prevalent. Let me don't include in the data, because like I said, people speak differently than data.
Oh, here we go.
Daniel Nelson. Because of Trump and Dan Reinhold got the Trump reporter.
Yes.
You have all the sources.
Timer hasn't stopped. And we're not back. No. What the fuck? Motherfucker. All right, I think I'm back. I have no idea what the fuck happened. All right, so the timer's running. Okay, cool. What the fuck happened? Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I no idea. All right, let's continue. I forgot what I was saying, but we're back.
TPP, the prosecution project, or a Cato study, which is reflected by the CSIS as well, where Cato tried to say there's 6 times the amount of domestic terrorism deaths. TPP said right-wing general violence. By the way, all of them agree that in the last year, since Donald Trump has been elected, even now they agree 2 to 3 times more leftist violence than right-wing violence. But that was never included.
Yeah, you should be good, Yeti.
In other words, when they say there's more right-wing political violence, that's not included as left-wing political violence. You know what else isn't? All the riots, the billions in damages, the 37 dead during the George Floyd riots, the thousands of officers assaulted, the thousands of casualties, that's not included. You know what else is included? Darrell Brooks in Waukesha, Wisconsin, who ran people over in the parade out of an exclusive defund the police, Black Lives Matter, anti-white, black supremacist ideology. That's why he killed them. That's not included. I could go through example after example that where you would just as clearly agree that is political violence. I'm not trying to pick a gray one. It exists nowhere. So why do you think that wouldn't be included in the data as left-wing political violence? Because that's the number cited by the left right now to justify it.
I think we have so much data that it's hard to even, especially in the today's Well, I don't know. That's weird because you're saying in the police recorded call they said
he spoke to the police before they shot him.
So it's on a 911 call. That
So this is on
the Trumper.
Yeah, he was talking to the police. So there's
police cam video.
This is security camera video, and then I believe there's also police camera video and sworn testimony from the police. But he identified as 100% Antifa.
Bang, bang.
You can look at his social media. He went out there. There are even, I believe, interviews with this man before this was committed where he was talking about enacting political violence.
Yeah.
Did it, clear as day. Are you a Trump supporter? Yes, we've got a Trump supporter. Bang, bang, dead. All the studies from left-wing sources don't include that. Is that bothersome?
Yeah, I do think it is bothersome because
They probably made it a racist.
we need to have the facts of the situations, any situation, regardless of where it comes from. And you talked about something you said earlier just reminded me of like the media is not portraying things accurately. And
Right.
that's
No
adding
shit.
fuel to the fire.
Yeah.
It's adding so
They
much
can't.
fuel to the fire.
On that, we agree.
They can't hold the feet to the fire because of what fucking Barack Obama did when he got rid of the Smith-Mundt Act. I believe 1946. Give or take 3 years. Maybe he's 49. To make it to where they can kind of not tell you the truth. They can slant it. And I don't mean like Asian. Like, they can slant it.
And can I ask you, and this is, by the way, there's no wrong answer. This is just an opinion. Why do you think that wasn't included? Why do you think the examples that I gave you, none of them were included? But any example of white on black violence, even if it was a Democrat voter, was listed as right-wing. Any attack on a government building, even if it was Antifa, was listed as right-wing. Why do you think something that clear
Was not included.
And it never will.
Would it surprise you if the authoritative source that's being cited, the prosecution project, the author of it, was actually arrested himself on January 20th protesting Donald Trump, committing crimes, and that entire day was also omitted?
Probably not.
A member of Antifa who said we are an organized group and we confront fascists. That's the source that gets disseminated across. Seems that there might be a bias there. And these sources are being used to victim blame those on the right now. Where do you think those on the right go? Where we go, hold on a second, we're actually sitting down and having conversations, and we've been attacked and in some cases killed.
Right.
And then you came to the memorials and the vigils, and you celebrated it. A majority of people on the left, not all, not yourself, but too many celebrated it.
I don't celebrate death
No,
in that way.
but many did, and we both know that we saw it.
I know you're right.
And then you came and blamed us and said we need to tone it down, and told us that we're more violent with clearly dishonest stats. That's why I say the both sidesing it doesn't help, because you're backing people into a corner, not you, the left, with lies. At a certain point, they're going to push back, and I'm trying to avoid that.
Yeah, so what do you think the answer is then?
I'll tell you what I think the answer is, twofold. One, the leadership of the left and the majority of the left. I think that the majority of people who identify as liberal, the reason you get those numbers 62 to 65, depending on the day, whether it's Rutgers or whether it's YouGov, I think they support political violence to varying degrees because they actually believe that those on the right are fascist, are Nazis, are genocidists, are racist, are homophobic, are sexist, because every single member of the Democratic leadership has said so. Barack Obama, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Walz, Bernie, Elizabeth Warren, every single one has made that comparison. I think it's incumbent upon the left to take accountability, say, look, we have gone too far here. This needs to be toned down. Of course, Donald Trump and his voters are not fascists who won't relinquish power, because he can't deal with fascists at a ballot box. And then I think we also need to, states need to take this upon them, need to change their soft on crime policy. The no cash bail, the IOU policy, where you can simply say, I'll be back in court. Before Charlie Kirk, right, the story in the news was Zarutska, the Ukrainian refugee who was stabbed on that subway in North Carolina.
And people forgot about it already.
By a black man, Carlos Brown Jr. He was let out 14 times. And the last time he was let out by a left judge in the name of social justice, he was deemed unfit to stand trial, but they let him go back out into society because he said he'd be back. He said he killed an innocent woman. You know why? Because, hey, justice is racist. I don't know when it becomes racist, if it's at arrest number 11 or 14 or 6. But that needs to change. Those two things, accountability, change in rhetoric, ownership from the left, which will change the makeup of today's left, make us safer, and needs to change soft on crime policy. And I also advocate that conservatives take an approach of ruthless, lawful self-defense, because we've afforded grace where it is not warranted. What I mean by that is people who attack me and my family, and many of my production members who've been attacked, violently assaulted, have taken the high road for a very long time, and that's why these people feel so bold to come to our memorials and still commit attacks. They need to know they can't do that. I want the left to be able to get up and have these conversations with no security, as they often do, and I don't want anyone on the right to go and violently disrupt it. The left needs to be afraid to come into our groups and commit acts of violence, because we watched entire cities burn down. We watched our own die, and then we watched it celebrated. And unless the left does this and takes this approach, it's going to get worse. There's no off-ramp. That's a genuine concern of mine. People are concerned about radicalizing, right? They talk about radicalization with echo chambers online. And there's nothing more radicalizing than an assassination and a party afterwards.
Yes, no, I agree with you.
That's why I'm sitting down doing this. And to let people know that we're not afraid to have these conversations. Now, of course, you know, we have bulletproof glass and a flak jacket, and it's sad that it's here.
Right.
But it's necessary. That's what I think.
Okay.
Would you disagree with any of those approaches? Changing the rhetoric, taking accountability, and stopping these
think a
soft on
flak
crime
jacket is
revolving
too
door
good against
criminality
the
policies.
556. Well, we have to wait.
This is hard, Stephen, because I just feel like we don't have enough time to even really dive deep into each one.
Well, those
of
are two proposals.
Issues. I know. But I just need more time to process and really consider and to understand what you mean exactly with each thing, because I don't want to.
No cashless bail.
No cashless bail.
Yeah, so you have to post bail.
With that.
Okay, you have to post bail.
bail.
You commit a violent crime, you have to post bail. You're in jail. You're not allowed out.
Okay, so no cashless bail, meaning you're not allowed to.
You're not allowed to get out without paying any bail.
Without paying any bail.
Right.
And like
Three-strike policy as well.
Three-strike policy.
3 serious felonies, violent crimes.
Wait, hold on, bail though.
Yeah.
So you're saying if you can't make bail, you can't get out.
Yep. You have to wait for your trial.
No matter what the level of the crime is.
No, if it's a serious felony.
Only if it's a serious felony.
Let's even start with violent crimes.
Like
felonies, violent crimes.
Rape, something like that.
Assault, armed robbery.
Okay.
Burglary. Battery.
I think I could probably get behind that.
Okay.
I could probably get behind that.
Not a single leader in the Democratic Party is. Why?
Yeah.
So we could get behind that. No IOU policy for these criminals. You're deemed meant. Let's use DeCarlos Brown Jr. as a very clear example. We could use George Floyd as an example too. He was arrested 6 or 9 times.
Actually, I'm
okay. That's fine.
I have to go to class.
Okay. Well, please peruse those sources. Your name is Christina. Let me get your last name, so if I want to go see your material.
Yeah. Well, I perform under a stage name, and I wouldn't say it anyways.
Could you write it down for me if I don't show it to anybody?
I will write it down for you, but you won't be able to find me. I'm not like a big, I just started a year or so ago.
Well, I was going to follow, maybe if I see it, send you some notes of encouragement, because I could have used that when I was starting.
Okay.
If you write it down, I promise you no one will see it.
Okay. But I don't know how you're going to send me anything.
Well, just no vibes, I think is the term that's used now. I'll be watching, know that I'll be out there going like, hey, go get him.
Well, this is my stage name.
Okay.
So.
Thank you. Thank you, Christina.
Yes.
Why wouldn't you want people to know
Good
your
luck
stage
with
name?
You too. God bless.
And I am, I just want to say, if it's really inappropriate, if anyone from the left or the moderate is right, we shouldn't be celebrating death. We need to be working together and being united in
Dude,
these
how
things.
come her eyebrows
Together we
look
stand
like
divided.
they zigzag when she's, trying to look serious? Hold on, maybe I just need to get a bigger screen. I can't do it. Look at her shit. It like dips. Oh, you can't look at it. Yeah, look at her shit. It like dips and then sharp drop off. Like her fucking eyebrows are calligraphy.
We fall.
I agree with most of that.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Christina.
Yeah, thank
Be well.
you.
God bless.
I was thinking that, Jennifer.
Well, that was surprisingly productive. And I say surprisingly, not in the context of change my mind, but in the context of what we see in today's social media highlight reels. I hope that we can keep this up. Let's move on to our next conversation with Madison, like the town.
Allow me to assert the premise today, which is that today, especially in 2025, I am presupposing that predominantly, the political violence right now is coming from the left, setting a tenor and tone where everything you see here today is necessary. And if you disagree with that, you're more than welcome to change my mind.
Yeah.
All right. So, which part of that, the left is predominantly responsible for the tone of political violence today, do you disagree with?
Well, I have to think that we first have to consider how many people are on the left and what is the true ideology and mythos behind this new occurrence of violence that we see with the left.
Okay.
Of course, I mean, there's potential skews of media. I don't doubt that crime is not happening, but how many people are truly committing crime out of the sake of leftism or out of the sake of radicalism, or could it be plastered on there just to get this ball rolling about narrative? The only other question that I had, a personal question about you, is, and it's a tough one.
Well, is it related to the topic?
It is.
Okay.
Not this chair.
Would Jesus be on the left or the right?
Well, that's a conversation for another day. We talk about that in church quite a bit. I don't necessarily know that he would fit within the current American left-right paradigm. But I will tell you one thing. Jesus would certainly be against political violence as a form of intimidation or coercion. It seems to me like, and correct me if I'm wrong, you're not disagreeing with the idea, the uptick that there is an increase in political violence from the quote-unquote left. You're just not sure if you define them as left?
Partially, yeah. I just don't necessarily want to just assign political violence or terrorism directly to the left, because we see political violence across the world.
You said majority.
In forms of autocratic or conservative ideologies. So maybe China is a really good example. Arguably Russia. Of
leftist violence?
Of leftist violence, especially. Or, well, no, autocratic and conservative violence.
China would be conservative?
I would believe so, because they're an autocracy.
Are you kidding
So they
me?
have to practice conservative ideologies to obtain, they can't liberate their people.
Oh. Communism is conservatism. Holy shit. Maybe we are communists. God damn it.
That's what the left is. That's what liberation is.
Well, I don't know how familiar you are with the CCP, but they're communist. And they did so under the guise of liberating people. And then, of course, you don't actually have any democratically held elections again. So they are communist. They've done so to liberate people, namely from
Ukraine.
the decadence, the quote-unquote shackles of the Western world. I'm just a little bit, I guess, flummoxed as to how you would define communist China, the Communist Chinese Party, as right-wing.
Well, because when Marx wrote his communist ideologies, it was conservative based. He didn't enjoy other people, races. He wanted to eliminate races.
What does it have to do with conservatism?
It has to do with human rights, because conservatism isn't looking to liberate people from or define human rights. It's looking to remove human rights, conserving the beliefs of the state and conserving the beliefs of elitism.
Okay, so what if your premise is flawed? So what if conservatism, and I understand, by the way, I agree with you, it means different things across. For example, conservative in the UK. In Canada, you're basically a liberal or a liberal separatist. There's no real conservative party. But in the United States, it's not about conserving the state. As a matter of fact, our Constitution is very unique in that it said the state doesn't grant any rights. So it's preserving the Constitution where you are granted unalienable rights, meaning birthrights, by God. And the state only serves to recognize those rights and protect them. And so if the state ever infringes upon the rights that are naturally yours by birthright...
But who assigned natural rights?
Well, that's the founding fathers who would be conservative. But natural rights being...
Republican?
Well, this was before the Republican Party.
Am I correct?
This is the Republican Party.
Yeah.
But I'm just confused. So you would say that communist China, conservative...
I would say it's autocracy that uses conservative.
Okay. But how is that conservative? For example, you say doing away with races.
Oh my God, this dumb fucking bitch. And I bet you she's getting a master's in something right now. It's definitely not in debating.
How is that conservative?
It conserves their power over the state or over the nation.
So you believe that conservatives want the state to have more power?
I think that we define conservative beliefs by our Republican values. But conservatism across
Conservative and Republican values, aren't those kind of the same. They go hand in hand.
The globe looks very different.
Okay. Well, I agree that different parties, because there's also the Conservative Party, for example, whereas here it's the Republican Party. We're talking about conservatism in the United States. It seems to me that your presupposition is that conservatives, Republicans want more state control, want more government power, as opposed to the Democrat Party, liberals. Okay. That would apply over health care, what you can eat, what you can drive, taxes. They're more left, they're more liberal, more open-minded on the left with those policies. Okay, I would just disagree with that, considering if you just look at marginal tax rates and you look at gun policy, you look at speech policy, you look at energy policy, what you can drive. But going back to political violence, you said you wouldn't want to ascribe the uptick that we both recognize, political violence to the left. What would be required for it to be ascribed to the left? What if they said it was? Like, what if someone's...
I would say, like, I'm looking at this globally.
Well, let's talk about here in the United States.
Not
That's what we're
globally.
discussing. Yeah. Like, what I'm asking you is, what would be required if someone were to commit an act of political violence and you consider it on the left?
So
What if...
basically, she compares it to globally, which means she completely ignores right in front of her. I mean, she completely ignores what's right in front of her. But I'm more worried about global violence, because political violence in the homeland, it does nothing. It doesn't exist. But if it did exist in the United States, it would definitely be on the right, because that's historically is what I'm told.
They said it's because they're on the left. Would that count?
I wouldn't say so, no.
No.
I think if somebody is doing an act in towards the left, what side of the left and why? Because what we refer to as the left is now a religion and ideology.
I'm sorry?
I would agree with that.
This is a secular movement.
Secular humanism,
And,
yeah.
well, you can really say demonic too, because like a lot of those people are nuts. And to try to return back to their liberalist state, because in some ways, liberalists believe that they've been robbed of human rights. It's a radicalism of people. That, honestly, if the conservatives, like maybe 20 years ago, started assigning themselves the idea of human rights or like, you know, public policy and things like that, there would probably been a switch around for the conservative movement to be more actually the radical people.
Do you mean like the Civil Rights Act, or like
Civil Rights
Emancipation Proclamation, freedom of speech policy, Section 230, Second Amendment? Do you mean those kinds of rights?
Those kinds of rights, but
If the right had been spearheading those?
and probably a little bit more socialist ideals. But of course,
Well, it's not just change the definitions, right? What you can't do, or I would disagree with doing, is saying racist means conservative, because it doesn't, right? Most slaveholders would be Democrat, and I know we would talk about how the parties have switched. You can't say KKK equal, those would be largely Democrats. There's nothing conservative about racism. There's nothing.
again, I think that we're
so that's
assigning
or saying that
Republican parties
Yeah.
and Democratic parties when conservative.
That's what we're doing. We're discussing it here in the States.
Assignment of Republican, because if you want to argue that Republicans were liberating people, wouldn't that constitute as a left nowadays?
Why would that be left?
Because they're liberating people from slavery, and it's a Republican mindset. We don't.
No, I don't see how that would be left at all. As a matter of fact, I think your fundamental flaw that I would argue is this idea that the left is more concerned with individual liberty. That makes sense why you would ascribe conservatism to communism. I think you'd be hard-pressed to find anyone who agrees with you. But right now, on the political violence, let me ask you this.
Karl Marx, he was a conservative.
Wanted to do away with the nuclear family, wanted to seize the means of production and distribution. I just won't agree with you that anything about that is conservative. The political violence, the assassination of Charlie Kirk.
Confusing conservative with Republican ideals, and the Republican ideal is to protect the family. In some ways, you could say it's conservative.
Sure,
family,
yeah,
but
conservative,
again,
and
that is
Karl Marx wanted the state to be in charge of the family.
That is the American perspective on conservatism.
Okay.
But the arrival of like what is liberalism, what is conservatism, we can't assign it to American Republican Party or Democratic Party, because people hold left-leaning views in the Republican Party.
Sure.
We can say that Republicans want to liberate the world from war nowadays, at least with Donald Trump's administration, and that the Democratic Party wanted to do more war in, what is it, like Bush's era, right?
So what is the confusing
Did you just say Bush was a Republican? But I would agree with you.
Maybe is it Clinton? Clinton was.
Yeah, I mean, I will say this: all presidents have been more pro-war than how they campaigned, with the exception of Donald Trump. I think we would agree on that. Political violence, the assassination of Charlie Kirk in cold blood. Would that be leftist political violence?
I think that was a Satanist.
Okay.
Are you shitting me?
Daryl Brooks walking.
Wait a minute. So she thinks the reason Charlie Kirk was assassinated was because the shooter was a Satanist? That's weird.
Running people over. He's a black supremacist who wanted to kill cops and white people. Would that be leftist political violence?
And he is a part of the BLM or black supremacy movement.
And would you not consider that among the left? Antifa, would that be considered among the left?
I think that they're assigning themselves a party to assimilate with, but that doesn't necessarily, it doesn't account for leftist values. Because the leftist
so let me ask you, because I don't want to waste too much time on this. How would you curb political violence, right? The whole reason for crime statistics is a risk assessment to see who's most likely to be victimized and prevent it in the future. I get that you're in college, and I understand that things can be kind of nebulous or abstract, but there are real people dying, right? And some of them are people I've known. Sitting in this exact. Okay. So where is the violence coming from in the country right now when you take into account Charlie Kirk? I mean, what just happened here down the road at ICE or Alvarado, I'm not sure how it's pronounced as well. We haven't gone more than 3 days in the last 3 weeks without significant acts of self-identified leftist terrorism. How would you curb it? If you're going to curb political violence, and it seems like you're not willing to say that anything is political within the paradigm as it's universally recognized, what would you do?
I think people need to go off social media. They're becoming radicalized through that.
That's it?
Okay.
How much time can you spend on TikTok, like, cycling through the same, like, violent ideologies? Because conservatives can have
I'm banned from TikTok because I said Xi Jinping has a small penis, so that's the Communist Party.
TikTok. I can say Instagram as well.
No, I'm just saying. I agree that social media can be very toxic, but we're seeing real acts of violence. So assuming that you can't wave your magic wand and ban all social media.
Are you meaning in terms of like policies, like if I had a seat in?
Well, we need to identify the problem. Where do you think the political violence is coming from more right now?
I think on a global scale,
in the United States.
Both.
In the United States.
In the United States, I can't speak on the United States because I don't think it's just the United States.
No, but that's what the conversation is today. So if you don't want to, that's okay. But I appreciate you taking the time. I appreciate the disagreement respectfully. You're never going to get me to say that the Communist Chinese Party is right wing.
Well, of course you wouldn't, because like you represent the Conservative Party and the Republican Party most.
Well, there's no Conservative Party here. I'm just conservative.
There are examples of people who are carrying out things violently, but it is not just the leftist ideology. It is a religion to something greater. And that's what I just want to assign it, is that because, of course. And like I've kind of already iterated my points, but.
No, and I think, and we would agree, Karl Marx loathed religion and wanted to replace it with the religion of the state.
Yeah.
And that's what we see from these leftists, but I appreciate you sitting down, Madison. Thank you very much. Are those furry pants? So that they look.
They're furry pants and what?
Well, they're fur.
Bear pants.
They're bear pants. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
Shoes that are very, very exclusive and rare, but.
So what took you back when I said furry pants if they're bear pants? I didn't mean to offend you. They look like fur.
Well, they are bear.
Okay.
Boston.
They're bear pants.
Are you a fan of Boston?
No. Not very much. I only spent a little bit of time there with the hockey exchange. Montreal, we do an exchange with the Boston, and it's an intensely uneducated and often quite racist people. But thank you very much, Madison.
Of course.
I appreciate you taking the time. God bless.
God bless.
All right. That was.
And a moment, if I may, for a brief intermission in the only time I'd be addressing the crowd this day to issue a new challenge and lay out next steps.
Guys, this will be probably one of the only times that I address you kind of as a mass of people, because these usually end up being individual conversations. But I wanted to take a moment just to kind of communicate something here. When we started Change My Mind, the idea was back in 2016. I think the first ones were in 2017, so nearly a decade now. SMU was one of the very first places. And actually, I believe
one of the very first places was me with a sandwich board in Burlington, Vermont, in a morph suit, because it wasn't on campus initially. But the more I went on campus,
Vermont's pretty good.
The more I saw the failures of the institutions. And I want to be really clear about something. This was never designed to mock, denigrate, or dunk on students who don't know any better. It was always designed to highlight the failures of the institutions, because I was dumbfounded as to the fact when leftists would sit down that this was the first time they were hearing mainstream conservative views. So it was always about highlighting the failures of institutions, and that includes media, but certainly academia. And that's why the next step, and something we've been trying to put together for a long time, but no one has agreed to do so, and why I'll be announcing this publicly and reading it out, we're actually going to be starting or calling for formal debates with professors at schools. And the only way we can think to get these people to show up is to offer up $10,000 to the school for whatever cause of their choice, to their institution, and reach out and, oh, Lane, sorry, your phone locked. Where's Lane? Yep. Your phone, see, I have to read this off his phone because I just had to get the list. Can you hold it open?
Didn't they drinking that death water?
And so we have reached out, and any Tom, Dick, Harry, or Karen who will respond and take the $10,000 offered up as a charitable contribution in any of the departments of political science or liberal arts at the University of Texas, at Kansas University, UCLA, up as a charitable contribution in any of the departments of political science or liberal arts at the University of Texas, at Kansas University, UCLA, Cal Berkeley, Stanford, USC, Penn State, Columbia, NYU, Harvard, Boston University, any of their esteemed professors in these schools who are willing to have a debate with a college dropout comedian. They can name the time, the place, pick the moderator and the rules. It should be an easy day out. And I encourage anyone who has any friends at these institutions, or if you have an association, to encourage their professors to do so. Or we can have a civil dialogue and maybe get to the root cause as to why you've been failed as students. You've been failed. It's time to go straight to the top to the people who failed you. We'll announce this publicly and post this list publicly. And I'll update you guys if anyone reaches back out. No luck yet.
Curious about the UCLA.
I very much appreciate you doing the work that your professors, in many cases, refuse to do. Thank you. All right, now back to the regular programming, the changing of minds. Meet Andrew. So I'm asserting that today, by and large, the tone, the temperature in this country, and the majority of political violence is coming from the left. Okay. And it's reaching a really serious boiling point. I've been observing it for a long time. Yeah. Doesn't mean that violence doesn't occur across the board, but predominantly from the left. If you disagree, you're more than welcome to change my mind.
Yeah, so one thing, I'm curious where you think that political violence comes from, just kind of as a general.
Where the violence on the left comes from?
Just where political violence, comes from, or on the left specifically, either way.
Yeah, well, I can tell you where it comes from on the left exactly.
Yeah.
I can tell you because I've been on the receiving end many times. So the reason I stopped doing Change My Mind for years is because every single time out there was some kind of attack.
Yeah.
For exactly the kind of conversation we're having right now.
Right.
And the ones that you've seen. I don't come out and instigate, but some people yell at me. Rocks, concrete milkshakes, Molotov cocktails, slashing tires, doxing. With Charlie Kirk, you're just seeing one that got through. Right. He had all the security before he was assassinated in an act of leftist terrorism because there were many close calls.
Yeah.
So that then empirically, that the recent polls from YouGov, from Reuters show that a majority of those on the left believe that political violence is somewhat to completely acceptable. Yeah. In contrast to the right, so I'll address leftist political violence. If you refer to your political opposition, Donald Trump and his voters, as fascist, compare them to Nazis, say they're racist, they support oppression of blacks through the police force, say that they want to commit genocide and erase trans people because they don't believe that children should transition or biological men and women's sports, they're sexist, homophobic, and say, for example, specifically on Donald Trump, and this is the entire DNC, as far as national figureheads, saying, and you won't have another election again.
Yeah.
Because he won't give up the reins of power. If I believe that, I'd be in the street with a gun.
Right. So I guess from my view...
Do you understand that? Would you agree with that kind of premise?
No, I understand where that's coming from. And I think really, like, what has changed recently is there's been more hatred in politics. I guess, can we kind of agree with that?
I think that there's been increasing violence. I think that progressivism necessarily is predicated on divisiveness and hatred. I don't think that's the case with conservatism.
Interesting. I guess what part of progressivism do you think comes with that? I mean, like...
Racial division, gender division, classist division.
Right.
I mean, you don't see the right saying, hey, these people are fascist and they want to genocide you.
No, I think that's fair.
So, and I think it's a necessary because, for example, leftism, socialism, right, you seize the means of production and distribution.
Right, yeah.
That requires violence. Lowering marginal tax rates does not.
Right.
Yeah.
I think there are forms of leftist ideology that have violence inherent in them, but I think there are also a lot on the political left. For example, my siblings, we get along like fantastic, especially in an age where people lose relationships over politics. I'm really thankful to not have that be the case. Have two siblings on the left. Both my parents are moderate political right. And
can I ask you, are your siblings, like, would you say significantly left?
I'd say, as policy-wise, fairly so.
How did they respond to the Charlie Kirk assassination?
Oh, they were like fully in supportive of my devastation at the fact.
How did they respond to so many people on their side celebrating the Charlie Kirk assassination?
Oh, they were fully against that. And
well, that's why you can be friends with them.
Right, and I think at the end of the day, I guess I'll just explain my view a little bit. As someone who's a man of faith and trying to kind of get less into the political sphere and more towards like how can I be bold in my faith, I don't see political violence as the problem. I see it as the symptom, and I think the problem is our lack of religion. And I think in order to then solve that problem, we need to kind of tackle it from the roots. And I know one thing you talk about, for example, is...
I don't disagree with that.
Yeah, I think like we see a lot of crime in inner cities, right? Especially with young kids. That's not the problem. The problem is fatherlessness, right? And the crime is kind of the symptom of that. I think I kind of see this in the same vein, right? Where we see this increasing political violence, and we have the question of like, how do we solve it, right? And I know I heard you kind of talking before, and you said like, well, it's on the left to solve it. But I think
on the left, what was that?
That it's on the people on the left to solve the violence problem.
No, I said it's well. I said it's incumbent upon them to take accountability for it, and just even because I want you to continue, but if I may address your point, yes, I do believe that godlessness is the root. Is that what you're saying?
Right,
the root cause of it. Okay. Who seeks to replace faith in the Father with the state? Who seeks to replace God with the state?
I mean, I think it's the ideology of atheism more so than it is a political.
No, it's a political ideology of the left. If you look into Marx and Engels,
I mean, that was a symptom now.
Well, but that is the goal of leftist policies, right? Is replace God with the state.
Yeah, that's not
state is your God.
Yeah, I mean,
it's the root of the left.
In some vein, I think that's true. But again, I think religion comes first, and then politics outgrow from that. And it's interesting. So one thing, when Charlie was shot, I was devastated, especially as a young conservative man. It kind of really hit close to home because I was like, he was like an older brother to me, right? Like it was like just like a shocking moment, and like seeing people celebrate it, I was like, they'd celebrate my death too if they cared enough, right? I'm not relevant, but if I was relevant, they'd celebrate my death too.
Yeah.
And I caught myself in the day after. I go, I don't know how we can live with these people. And I'm kind of mad at myself for saying that. And the reason is...
Why?
Jesus never lived like that, right?
And
his followers never lived like that, right? They endured persecution as the cost to spread his message. And I think that as either conservatives or people who are followers of Christ, we're called to do the same thing. And I think that it's not necessarily like awful to say something like this, but I think it can also be kind of pragmatically unproductive because I don't think it actually goes at what the root cause is. And I think if we want to tackle... Sorry.
No, that's fine. Don't worry. You can mess us all up.
If we want to tackle the root cause, our efforts should be on that, right? Should be on spreading Jesus and like his message and what he taught.
Sure. Well, I agree with that, and we do discuss faith quite a bit. I mean, the show we have Friday Apologetics episode.
Yeah.
But I would say that it's I would posit that it's misguided.
Okay.
Sell your cloak and buy a sword. Right. Jesus did not ask for his followers to die for their faith as a primary mechanism of spreading the faith. And he did talk about protecting themselves. Jesus conquered death. You can't.
Right.
Now, I know we all conquer death through the salvation, right? But as far as here, that's a very different... And I think that asking people on the right, especially people who are fathers, mothers, to willingly put ourselves out there and endure not only violent assault, but assassination, I just don't know how that's going to solve anything. Maybe you would have a point, and I don't know that I would agree theologically, if after the death of Charlie Kirk, if the left, and I've been saying this, the off-ramp for the left was saying, okay, look, we said that these people are fascists, we said that they're Nazis, we said, and people out there, my God, believe them, we're really sorry, we need to tone this down. Instead, you saw a gleeful celebration thereafter. Polls that show a majority of those on the left believe it somewhat to completely acceptable, and then blaming the right for violence and saying, you guys need to tone down the temperature. There is no living with those people in their current state until they change. They need to be redeemed. And I understand they need Christ to redeem them.
Right.
But we can't be sitting ducks.
No, I mean, I don't think it's wrong to defend ourselves, but like, if we look at how the apostles taught, right, I think all but one were crucified or exiled for their views, right? Jesus said, not you might undergo persecution, he said you will go
I think that's the biggest flaw. Maybe not. Maybe it is the biggest flaw of Christianity. Preaching of forgiveness. No. No. If you commit some kind of atrocity like that, I don't care what happens to you. I don't have to like you. I don't have to forgive you. And I'm not going to care what happens to you. I can't say forgiveness is for weak people, but I think it's a cop-out.
Right? I mean, baptism is referred to as joining Jesus in death, right? We have these we have these very strong, either depending on the situation, metaphors or direct instructions that we will undergo persecution. And the reason that we're able to do that is we know that we're saved through Christ, right? It's the most beautiful thing, right?
And I understand, but this is one thing where I do get off with a lot of modern Christian theology.
Right.
And I think that you'll probably find more consistent teachings like in Orthodoxy, for example. And I'm not Orthodox or even, what traditionally the Catholic Church, I know there's been splinters, is no one is called to die. No one is called to die. I shouldn't say no one. We are not called to die as a primary means of spreading the gospel. And right now, Charlie Kirk, let me put it this way, he was hunted.
Yeah.
By definition, he was hunted, just as I have been hunted. And you're one viral tweet, you're one viral video, one post away from being hunted yourself. And for us to say, well, let's just deal with them in love. When you look at systemically, right, we'll use the term the left does. Systemically, people who commit violent crimes against us, they're released on the IOU policy.
Yeah.
Right? Cashless bail. Hey, you're not fit to stand trial. Think of Irina Zarutska before Charlie Kirk. That guy was out 14 times. George Floyd, I believe, was 6 or 9 times.
Yeah.
It is an evil, evil ideology that has permeated the halls of our institutions that does need to be dealt with. And I don't think we can deal with that by just turning ourselves into martyrs. I'm willing to be a martyr.
Yeah.
I don't want to be.
No, I don't think you should necessarily want to be. But I think if we're both looking historically as to how the gospel was spread, it was spread through people who were willing to die for their faith.
Not so much a martyr, but for dying for something I believed in. That's what I want to do.
In fact, I see it in the same vein as...
Stephen, right? I was named after the first martyr.
Right.
I'm like, thanks, Mom.
I'm Andrew, so also understand. Yeah. No,
from the right hand of God.
Sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. But
that's okay, brother. I get it.
Yeah, so both how the gospel was spread historically through people who were martyred, and then also in kind of modern examples, right? A necessary sacrifice of being a man is being willing to die for others, right? It's not that we want to die for others. It's not that we shouldn't defend ourselves, right? And I think one key thing is like Jesus loved everyone, but the way he loved them was not through being passive, right? I mean, very clearly, the way he loved people was by unequivocally telling them the truth, right? And he didn't back down, right? And it got him killed for telling the truth, right? But he also loved everyone, even those who hated him, right? I mean, he spoke out against the Pharisees, he spoke out against other religious hypocrites, he spoke out against those committing sins, right? And I think the same form of love that he practiced is what we should try to practice within that, because at the end of the day, this violence is going to keep continuing.
Yeah. And do you mean like sitting down at a table and allowing anyone who will discuss it to listen, having a dialogue like this?
I think you're doing exactly what
because we get killed anyway.
Right.
You know what else?
No, there's a part 2. And, yeah, we're gonna watch part 2 tomorrow. I'm probably gonna watch it later, but yeah, we'll go over tomorrow.
not just willing to die.
Yeah.
Willing to fight.
Yeah.
Willing to kill if it comes to it. I'm not talking about going out and
Literally
killing people in the
just
streets.
saying
I'm talking about you are called as a Christian man. I'm assuming you're not married.
Correct.
Otherwise, you just moisten your eyes.
Not yet.
You are called to protect your family with your sword. You are called for righteous violence when needed. And people have misconstrued what I've said, where I've said it is time for ruthless, lawful defense. And what I mean by that is I've been attacked so many times at these things, where I said, not anymore. We're not going to allow it. I don't know if that milkshake is strawberry, chocolate, vanilla, concrete, or acid.
Yeah.
I agree with you. But just like a father who loves his child, you spoil the rod, you spare the child, right?
Right.
We love this country, and we see an evil permeating it.
Yeah.
And speaking truth sometimes is uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And we got to keep our chin down and hands up.
Right.
And I don't think we have any disagreement. And I don't think that this statement is unproductive. It's the truth, and the truth is merely the truth.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, I'm not saying that telling the truth is not productive, but I think at the end of the day, you do have to go to the roots. And even if, let's just say we all carry guns around as Christian men, we defend our families, right? If we still allow atheism as an ideology to become widespread because we don't have these conversations, which I think what you're doing right now is like exactly what we need to be doing.
Oh, right, good.
Oh, and it's totally what Jesus did, right? He talked to everyone, right? He said, I'm here. Come talk to me.
I don't know if Jesus ever sat down with a self-identified bionic furry, but times change.
No. But I mean, he talked to the Samaritan woman, right?
Yeah.
I mean, she was like, "Why are you even talking to me?" Right? I'm a Samaritan. You're a Jew. And so I think like he was willing to have the tough conversations. He was willing to spread love to everyone. And I think in our current context, if we simply go around, we fight using the sword, right? It's not necessarily about...
Well, I'm not advocating that.
No. And we should defend those who matter to us.
Was
And we
Jesus
should...
really a Jew? What happened during his time in Egypt? You sure he was a Jew after that?
defend ourselves. But at the end of the day, if we don't tackle the root problem, it's just going to get worse. And I think, at least from my perspective, what we're seeing is kind of my parents' generation, the kind of like, what was it, Gen X?
Yeah.
Was the first generation that rejected Christ en masse as a generation. But they still accepted the moral precepts.
I'd say the baby boom, because a lot of them turned it into weird Christian hippie shit.
Yeah, right.
You know
so
what I mean?
No matter who we said it was, but they were the first ones to reject it, but they still accepted the moral precepts that Christianity taught, right? They still accepted we're all human beings, murder's wrong, theft's wrong, sexual immorality is
men are men
wrong, men are men, right? Still accepted by that generation. This new generation is saying, if we don't believe in God, we don't have to believe in any of that stuff. And I think that's the ideology that's resulting in this political violence, right? Because it's the ideology.
Well, I would take it one step further. It's the marriage of that ideology with government as a means of enforcing it. And that's Marxism, that's socialism. And that's why if you look at the left, the modern political left, it is deeply anti-God in every facet. It says there is no such thing as a life until literally it's outside of the vaginal lips. Not even, by the way, and I don't say that to be, and I think we should be shocking as Christians truth, because we're not even just talking about in the uterus. Literally until it leaves the vaginal lips, it's not a life. And sometimes, we saw Governor Northam, even afterwards, we might allow that child to die. We should allow children to mutilate their genitals, right? Be on puberty blockers. Not only that, we should take children away from their parents if they want to protect them and hide them in Minnesota where the parents can't find out about them. This is deeply evil, and the means of enforcing said evil is the state, and the only side interested in doing that en masse is the Democrat Party and the modern political left, and so I don't think you can separate the two. And my only disagreement, it wouldn't be disagreement on any, I don't think anything as far as our precepts, is on the methodology. There's a big reason that Gen Z has become more conservative. And a big reason for that is that people like myself and people like Charlie Kirk and a lot of people who sort of, spearheaded this, we were no longer concerned with offense. The church was very feminized and very concerned with keeping the tithes in, because women brought their kids to Sunday school, and you know what? We don't want to offend anyone. And I think being curt but honest and blunt and having a backbone has resulted in a lot more headway than this sort of agape love Christianity. And it doesn't mean that you don't love people. But this conversation, I used to get more letters from Christians when I would start this exact kind of thing, saying, you know that's going to offend people. I don't give a shit.
No, and I don't think it's wrong necessarily. I think that it would just be more helpful to, I guess, kind of tackle what I see as the root cause of all of this. in the rise of atheism. Because at the end of the day, if we just treat the symptom, right, it's what the welfare state did, right? It treated the symptom.
Sure.
But if we don't tackle the problem, and if we do both at once, I think that's great, right? If we say...
I think that's what I think. We need to do both at once.
I mean, so I suppose the inherent statement, because I do see a lot of political violence on the left, that statement is not necessarily wrong. I just don't think it's the whole picture, and I think the accompanying statement must always be made that this political violence and hatred comes at the root source from the idea that we don't have a God, there's no objective morality, and that's what's resulting in that ideology and that hate. Because then
I agree with the root cause of it. The problem is you can't argue that with someone who simply rejects the precept of God. In other words, you have to meet them on their territory and gradually pull them over to this concept where you can get them to agree, and I'm kind of good at this. You can get them to agree on some terms, for example, political violence. You can get them to agree on certain policies and then ask the why. And for example, I sat down, my favorite change my mind that I ever did, I had a girl sit down, I'm pro-life, changed my mind. And she said, well, I don't know why you would judge me. I had to have an abortion. I didn't have a choice. I said, you did have a choice. I said, you know what? You're going to meet that child in heaven one day. She came back on the show 2 weeks later via Zoom, and she'd become a pro-life activist.
Praise God. But
I didn't start with something that she wouldn't hear. So this is to start the conversation, and then the conversations result in this. But I will say, I assume you're raised in the church? Or raised with a Christian family?
Yes.
And SMU is relatively moderate as far as schools. There is a cold, dark world that awaits you, and I want you to put the armor of the Lord on.
I'm from Connecticut.
Okay, all right. There you go. Plus, you got the McMahons there. They do some weird stuff. But, all right, well, was it Andrew?
Yes. I know this is unconventional. Is it cool if I pray with you real quick?
Yeah, absolutely. We've done that several times.
Dear Heavenly Father, I just thank you for Stephen and what he's doing out here. And I just ask that you can use his voice as to be an ambassador for your will. I thank you for the ability to have this beautiful day, this beautiful breeze, and have conversations out here. And I just ask that you are present with and bless everyone that is in attendance today, as well as everyone in our country, those who are struggling, and sometimes most importantly to pray for. God is our enemies and those who fervently disagree with us. Even if they want us dead, we have to pray for their salvation and for them to come around. And we just appreciate having this gift of life, that we're able to do this and able to hopefully do your will and do this in your name. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
In Jesus' name, amen. I apologize because I looked around a couple times to make sure no one was coming in hot.
Oh, no.
But
Thank you so much.
Thank you, brother.
Appreciate you.
God bless you. I appreciate that. Thank you. That means a lot.
Thank you.
All right, I gotta talk to the VA. Apparently they're mad I haven't come and seen them in a while. Whatever. So, like I said, tomorrow we're gonna do part 2 and anything else that I find interesting in the next 18 hours. But yeah. I don't know. I'm confused by some of the college kids. It's a mixed reaction of what I expected. I'm just so confused on the one girl that wouldn't focus on the United States. No, you're good, Juniper. Why was she focused on the world instead of what's right in front of her? And that's the fucking kind of problem we have in the United States. These Greta Thunbergs, who's probably going to get deported again. I think they should put her in jail, to be honest. But it seemed like all 3 people, they actually lacked critical thinking. They lacked free thought. They sounded like cookie cutters of what I would have expected. That's just the way I saw it. It's the way I think. And you know what that means? I'm not telling you how to think. Because maybe you think way different than me. Maybe you guys think Israel really is good. Maybe you think 6 million's a real number. That's the great part about this place. I'm just telling you to think. Huh? Yeah. All right, they're about to call back in about 3 minutes. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I hope you enjoyed what I've had presented for you today. And look forward to more. If not tomorrow, the next day. And I do occasionally just do Rumble-only streams because why the fuck not? It's a free country. For now. But for here, well, no, because I censor speech. If I don't like you, oh, see, consequences. Huh? Right? If I don't like what you say, I can just block you. But no, for real. Have a good rest of your day.